My children, I don't know why I feel the urge to speak today. Maybe it's because my heart has become too heavy to carry alone. For years, I have stayed silent, swallowing my pain, smiling in front of the world, but crying behind closed doors. I am an old woman now. My hair has turned white, my hands have lost their strength, and my voice trembles when I speak. People see me and call me weak, but what they don't see is the weight of memories I carry in my chest, memories that pierce like thorns, memories that never let me sleep in peace. I never thought I would reach this age and feel so forgotten. Not by strangers, but by my own blood. The son I gave my everything to, the son I called my world, is the very one who made me feel invisible. Do you know what it feels like? When the child who once clung to your hands grows up and pushes you away. When the same boy who once refused to sleep without your lullabies now finds your presence a burden. People often ask me why mothers cry silently. I will tell you why, because a mother's tears are sacred. They are not meant to create guilt. They are born out of love too deep to explain. My tears were not for myself. They were for my son. Every drop that fell from my eyes whispered only one prayer. May God protect him, even if he forgets me. But today, I speak not for pity. I speak so you may understand. So that maybe, just maybe, my words will touch the heart of another son who still has a mother alive. My story is not just about pain. It is about sacrifice, betrayal, and the strength hidden in a mother's silence. If you have a mother, listen closely. If you are a son, remember every word I say. Because one day you might search for her voice and find only silence in return. When I look back, I sometimes wonder, did I ever live for myself? Or was my whole life spent living for others? I was just a little girl when I first learned what sacrifice meant. I remember wanting to study more, to hold books in my hands, and dream of becoming something one day. But my family would laugh at me. A girl does not need dreams, they said. She only needs to learn how to serve. Every time I asked for something simple, a new dress, a toy, a chance to study, I was told, no, we cannot waste it on you. My brothers were given everything, while I learned the art of silence. My heart was full of wishes, but my lips carried only obedience. I still remember the day I cried silently because my brother got new shoes, while I was handed down his old ones. I didn't cry because I wanted shoes. I cried because I felt invisible. You see, when a girl grows up in such an environment, she quickly learns one lesson. Her happiness doesn't matter. Her worth is measured only by how much she can give up. So I gave up, one dream at a time. I gave up my studies. I gave up my laughter. I gave up the idea that my life was mine. My relatives used to say, "She is such a good girl. She never argues, never demands." But deep inside, I was not a good girl. I was just a broken child who had no choice. From that young age, I was being prepared for a life of silence. A life where I would serve, sacrifice, and suppress. And sadly, I thought that was normal. I told myself, one day, when I have my own family, things will be different. Maybe my child will give me the love I was denied. Little did I know destiny had written another test for me. A test much harder than my childhood. A test that would come in the form of the very person I loved the most, my son. When my son was born, I thought my life had finally found its purpose. For the first time, I felt that God had blessed me with something that was truly mine. I still remember holding him in my arms, so small, so fragile, and whispering, "You are my everything now. You are the reason I will survive." All the pain of my childhood, all the wounds left by my relatives, faded when I looked into his tiny eyes. I promised myself that he would never feel the emptiness I felt growing up. If I had to starve, I would. If I had to work day and night, I would. But my son would never feel the sting of neglect that I once carried. I gave up my sleep to watch over him. Every time he cried in the middle of the night, I ran to him, no matter how tired I was. My body ached, but my heart was full. His laughter was my medicine. His smile was my reward. People around me would say, "You're exhausting yourself. Take rest." But I never listened. How could I rest when the only source of my joy was in my arms? My son became my dream, my prayer, my sacrifice, my survival. I still remember the first time he called me Ammi. Tears rolled down my face. It wasn't just a word, it was my new identity. I was not invisible anymore. I was someone's whole world. I forgot myself completely. My wishes, my health, my youth, everything was given to him willingly. When people praised him, I felt proud as if it was me being praised. When people complimented his smile, I felt as though the world had finally given me something precious. I thought, this is the son who will be my strength in old age, the son who will stand beside me when the world turns its back. I believed that if everyone left me, he never would. What I didn't know then was that sometimes the ones we love the most are the ones who hurt us the deepest. My whole life started revolving around my son. Every morning, the first thing I wanted to see was his face. Every night, the last prayer on my lips was for his safety. I forgot who I was. I forgot what I wanted. All that mattered was him, his needs, his dreams, his happiness. When he was sick, I spent nights awake, sitting by his side, whispering prayers into the darkness. I begged God, take my health, take my sleep, take everything, but let my son be well. When he went to school, I would wait at the door for his return. I would run to the kitchen, making his favorite food, because I wanted him to feel loved the moment he stepped inside. When he smiled, my world lit up. When he cried, my heart broke. His joy became my joy. His pain became my pain. I stitched clothes with my tired hands so he could look presentable among his friends. I hid my own hunger so he would never feel his stomach empty. I walked in the sun, bare feet burning so that his shoes would remain new. People told me I spoiled him. They said, "You give him too much love. He won't value it." But I never listened. How could a mother love her son too much? Isn't that what motherhood is, giving without counting? Every sacrifice felt small when it came to him. I didn't think of my future. I didn't think of my old age. I thought, if he grows into a good man, that will be enough for me. He was my pride. Whenever I saw him walk confidently, laugh loudly, or speak with strength, my chest swelled with happiness. I thought, yes, all my suffering was worth it. My son will never let me feel alone. I told myself, the world may forget me, but my son will never. But life, my children, has a way of proving mothers wrong. The very son I poured my soul into would one day make me feel like I never existed at all. At first, I didn't notice the change. It was small things, the way he would come home and walk straight to his room without sitting with me, the way his words became shorter, colder, less filled with the warmth I once knew. I told myself, he is growing up. This is what happens when children become adults. But deep inside, my heart trembled. I was losing the boy who once couldn't sleep without holding my hand. When he got his first job, I was the happiest mother alive. I prayed endless prayers of gratitude. I thought, now he will finally be able to support me, to take away some of my burdens. But instead, he grew busier. Calls became fewer, conversations became rushed. Then came the day of his marriage. I prepared everything with my trembling old hands, smiling while tears hid behind my eyes. I told myself, this is his new life. A mother's job is to step back now. But what I didn't expect was to be pushed so far back that I would no longer exist. After his marriage, my son's love felt like a candle slowly dying out. The home I built with sacrifice became just a house for him. He no longer asked if I had eaten, if I had taken my medicine, if I had slept well. My words became background noise. My presence became unnecessary. I would sit quietly in the corner while he laughed with others. I waited for him to glance at me, to smile at me, to say, "Amy, are you okay?" But that moment rarely came. The boy who once cried if I was late to pick him up from school now didn't notice when I cried silently at night. The boy who once begged me never to leave his side now left me standing alone in my old age. Relatives had always hurt me with their taunts, but nothing ever pierced me as deeply as the silence of my own son. You see, betrayal from the world you can endure, but betrayal from your child, that shatters a mother's soul in ways no words can explain. I had survived many wounds in life. Relatives mocked me, people ignored me, my own family treated me as a servant. But I endured it all because I believed my son was my safe place. But the day I realized my son no longer saw me as his blessing, my soul cracked in a way that will never heal. Do you know what it feels like when your child avoids your eyes? When he walks past you as if you are just a piece of furniture in the room? When your voice becomes a disturbance instead of comfort? That pain, it burns deeper than fire. I would sit at the window every evening, waiting for him to come home. When I heard the sound of his footsteps, my heart would leap. But he would enter the house, glance at his phone, and walk past me without even saying, "Amy, how are you?" There were nights when I cooked his favorite food. Hopping, he would sit with me, smile, and say, "You still remember, Amy?" Instead, he came home late, ate silently, and went back to his room. Not once did he look at my tired face. One night, I heard him say to his wife, "My mother is always complaining. She doesn't understand. She makes life difficult." Those words, they killed me. Not because he said them, but because they came from the lips I once kissed 1,000 times, the lips I prayed for every single night. I wept silently into my pillow. My tears did not ask for sympathy. They were tears of betrayal. My heart whispered again and again, "Is this the reward for my years of sacrifice? Is this the son I gave my soul to?" Relatives may hurt you, but you can close the door on them. A stranger may betray you, but you can walk away. But when your own child becomes the source of your deepest wound, where do you go? I realized then, the worst kind of loneliness is not being alone. It is being unwanted by the very one you lived for. My house is not empty, yet it feels hollow. Walls stand around me, but they don't speak. The rooms echo, but only with silence. I wake up every morning not to the sound of my son's laughter, but to the ticking of the clock. I make tea, not because anyone asks for it, but because my hands don't know what else to do. I place 2 cups on the table out of habit, then quietly put one back. Meals are the hardest. I sit on the floor with my plate, staring at the chair where he used to sit as a child. I remember feeding him bites of food, watching his little hands make a mess, laughing at his stubbornness. Now I eat alone. Every bite tastes of loneliness. Nights are colder. I lie on my bed, eyes open, waiting to hear his voice call out, "Amy." But the only sound I hear is the hum of silence. Sometimes I cry into the darkness, but even my tears have grown tired. They fall without sound, without strength. Neighbors visit sometimes, smiling politely. They ask, "How are you?" I answer, "I am fine." But inside, my heart screams, "I am not fine. I am drowning in silence." People think old age kills slowly. But no, it is not age that kills, it is neglect. It is being alive, yet unseen. Breathing, yet forgotten. Existing, yet unwanted. I have learned that hunger does not kill a mother. What kills her is sitting alone at the table, knowing her son has food in front of him, but no place in his heart for her. And so, I live a day after day, in a house that once felt like home, but now feels like a prison built out of memories. One night I broke. I had spent the entire day waiting for my son to sit with me, to share even a few words. He came home late, walked past me, and shut his door. I sat there on my bed, staring at the wall until the silence screamed louder than my heartbeat. That night, I cried like a child. I pressed my hands to my face and begged God, "Ya Allah, what did I do wrong? Why has the child I raised with love turned his heart against me?" My body shook, my pillow drowned in tears, and for the first time, I thought I would die from sorrow. But somewhere between my sobs and my silence, something inside me changed. I realized I had been waiting for love from a heart that had forgotten me. I had been begging for attention from the very child I gave everything to. And in that moment, I understood. Maybe I was meant to stop waiting. Maybe my life was not meant to end in tears. Yes, my son had hurt me. Yes, my relatives had betrayed me. But above all of them, my Creator still watched me. My God had never abandoned me. Every night I cried, He was the only one who truly listened. So that night, I wiped my face. I sat up straight, and I made a promise to myself. I will no longer live as a shadow. I will turn my pain into strength. I will turn my loneliness into purpose. For the first time in years, I did not pray for my son to return to me. I prayed instead, "Ya Allah, give me the courage to forgive, the strength to move forward, and the wisdom to use my story to help others." And do you know what? A strange peace entered my heart that night, the kind of peace I never found in waiting for others. I understood then, even if the world abandons you, God never does. And sometimes you must stop asking why me and start asking, what can I do with this pain? After that night of breaking down, I began to see life differently. I no longer sat waiting at the door for footsteps that never came. Instead, I opened the door for the neighbor's child who needed help with studies. I no longer cooked for someone who ignored me, but I shared food with the poor who knocked on my gate. Their prayers filled my heart more than silence ever did. I started writing down my memories. Each word was soaked in tears, but also carried strength. Slowly, I realized my pain was not just mine. There were countless mothers like me, countless parents forgotten by their children, sitting in houses filled with loneliness. So I decided, if my own son could not value my love, I would not let that love die inside me. I would give it to those who needed it most. I visited an old age home once. I saw eyes just like mine, tired, forgotten, and hungry for affection. I sat with them. I held their hands. I listened to their stories. And for the first time in years, I felt alive. It was then I understood. Sometimes your own blood may leave you, but God sends you other souls who need you just as much. I began to smile again, not because my life was perfect, but because my pain had found a purpose. My scars became lessons. My loneliness became wisdom. And today, as I sit here speaking to you, I want every child listening to remember this. A mother's heart is not made of stone. It breaks, it bleeds, but it also forgives. Do not wait until it is too late. Value her when she is alive, not when you are left with only her silence. Because one day you will search for her voice, and all you will hear is an echo of regret. My son may never listen to these words. He may never sit beside me again. But if destiny allows, and these words reach his ears, I want him to know this. Son, I am not angry with you. My heart has carried too much love to hold anger. Yes, your silence broke me. Your neglect carved wounds deeper than knives. But even now, as I sit in my last years, all I truly want is your goodness. Remember this, my child. Wealth will never comfort you when you are old. Friends may stand around you today, but when the storms of life come, only a mother's prayer will shield you. Do not throw away that shield. One day, when your hair turns gray and your hands begin to shake, you will remember me. You will remember how I waited for you, how I prayed for you, how I forgave you even in my loneliness. And when you feel that emptiness, I pray you choose to love your children differently. Break the cycle. Become the son I always prayed you would be. To every soul listening, never wait for regret. A mother's lap is the softest place on earth, but it is not forever. Hold her hands while they are warm. Listen to her voice while it still speaks. Love her while she breathes, because once she is gone, even if you cry oceans, her silence will never answer. My story is not just mine. It is a mirror for every home, every child, every heart. Learn from it before life teaches you with regret.